computer. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the redo of our very first Bringer No More class. Yeah, the dreaded bringers. You got it. Whether you're on the side of being pro having bringers or on the side of, oh God, am I not above doing bringers yet? Whatever side you're on, we're here to talk. We all need to hear each other's side because, well, to be honest, people who are producing bringer shows and clubs that have them don't see how hard we work to try to help fill the clubs. So we all need to see each other's side. I've invited people at clubs and producers of bringer shows to come and talk their side of it. I haven't yet heard back from them, and I'm looking forward to their input. But anyway, let's get into the class. Here we are. Thank you for coming. Today we have two people here who are participants, and one will be coming shortly. So we had to redo it. So we went down from 14 to 3 participants, and we're good with that. We're good with that. So let's move on. What is Bringers No More? Well, Helene Witt and she is a fabulous bringer, right? Bringer is such a negative term to all of us who are comedians. She has fans around the world. People love her. I went to Long Island. A lady said she is like a celebrity here in Long Island. So when clubs and bookers just think of us and refer to us as bringers, we're far more than that. And we need to start acting like it. Yeah, that's what I think. I think we need to blow their minds. And so that's what the whole point of this class is to have the right attitude of the dreaded bringers that keep coming at us and do far more than the bare minimum, which is bringing. It's having a fan base, having a persona, have a personality, being so damn good that people want to come to our stuff. And then flip this on its end. And that's how I feel. But anyway, by coming in here, you've given consent for me and Helene to send these videos anywhere we see fit, where we want to help others see the whole picture from our point of view. And so you're giving consent for us to use your likeness, your name, blah, blah, blah. Please, we're going to be doing a round robin as soon as I get done talking. We're going to do a round robin where you get to talk good and bad about comedy clubs and producer bringers, whatever. Just don't mention their name or the name of the club. I would really appreciate that. I'm not going to do another redo. This will go out. So if you slip and say a name, it's going out there. So please, please, please. And I'll mention it as new people come in the room. And right before we go into every time, I'm going to be timing you. So 3 minutes, keep your input to 3 minutes, if you will. Since there's only a few of us, if you want to do 4 minutes, that's okay too. But I'll time you and give you the light when you have a minute left. And so here's the round robin discussion du jour of the day for those of you that aren't as smart as me and know French. Kidding. Okay. So the question is, what in your comedy existence? I know Georgia had a great question. Who the hell started Bringers anyway? We're gonna find that. She didn't say that. I just rephrased it. I'm gonna find that out. I'm gonna find that out today from somebody. I don't know who. If I have to get a Ouija board, I'm gonna find out. Anyway, so now here's the discussion topic. Keep it to this, please. In your time of comedy, what is the good, the bad, the ugly you've experienced with bringer shows, bringer producers, without saying anybody's name or the name of any club? And our first participant to talk is Georgia Metz out of the great city of Port St. Lucie, Florida. And you're on.
Okay, so in my years of doing comedy, and I'm specifically going to say from 2015 up to 2019 is when I had my most active participation in bringer shows. And I was in New York City, and all the iconic clubs that are there, And oh yeah, you want to be on stage and you want to tell your friends going to be at this place, which everybody knows. But oh, how many people do I have to bring? 6. Oh, I have to answer right now, and I have to commit to the 6 people. Now I have to go through my phone contacts and say who's got an extra $50 laying around. The cover charge is 20. Hey, 2 drink minimum. Okay, good. All right, then the tip. Then we got to park the car. And I'm like, who loves me enough? Who thinks I'm enough, value enough to come and see me? And then who's coming? People from my job and my family members and social people. And guess what? They all showed up. I have to say that everybody showed up exactly where I asked them to come. And I was worrying about them instead of worrying about me. But to have my video or have a photograph of myself in front of an iconic banner or a familiar wall or whatever, we all know what we're talking about because we've all been on those stages. So the bringer is, what's the reason for the bringer? I don't have enough fans, so I'm not going to bring any money to the club. But they know that comedians want to network and go on these great stages, so we're going to try to do our damnedest to get our friends to come there. I've done New York City, the Bronx, Westchester. I've gone to Rockland County. I always have to bring somebody. Here's an experiment I did. I went to a club in the city. This was in 2018. I needed 5 people. The cover was $20. I go to the door. The guy says, "Who are you here to see?" I said, I'm here to do comedy. Where's your 5 people? I took out 5 20s out of my bra, handed it to the guy, and he goes, "Okay, come in." You see, it's about money, but it's also about an opportunity for me. So A, how will we get on stage if we can't guarantee 6 people? How can I get the experience without bringing the bringers? And when am I going to be elevated to beyond the bringer? When will I be able to say featured? Or, what do I have to do for the club to be, like Linda pointed out, how do we elevate ourselves? We become a better comedian. We're around. We have a fan base, and then we say, "Oh, here's our video. These are our fans. Listen to everybody clapping. All right, you're good. You can come in and do a 10-minute set." So it's good and bad. It's good that I have an opportunity, but it's bad that I have to guarantee. And if you don't guarantee in a certain period of time, you're not gonna, then you have to. What am I gonna do then? I'm in a pickle, trying to get people to come. And so that's my feeling on the bringer shows. And I don't do any more bringer shows, honestly. I just waiting for whatever it is. But that's the feeling I get about the bringer show. So I would like to hear the club owners tell me, what is it I have to do, and why do we do bringer shows? Where did that come from? Because you have a stage for 5 minutes, and now you want to make money. I mean, I don't know. I can't see if you're flashing me because I can only see you. I don't know what my time.
Oh yeah, I'm flashing you now.
Okay, good, because I'm only do one thing at a time. Look into the screen, and where is everything?
I'm so busy listening. You're so interesting and compelling. I forgot to give you the light. I'm sorry.
Right, as long as I see the light at the end of the tunnel, if you get my drift, that's all.
Absolutely. I know what you're saying about the dreaded bringers, and I totally get it. And Helene, do you have anything to add? Because you're the co-producer of this show, co-writer.
She frozen?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say she really covered so many aspects of what a person might say. I really have nothing to add. The reason I went away is somebody needed help to come in.
No problem. Thank you so much. Okay, so our next participant who's going to talk about experience in the business, and he's got a lot of it, is the amazing Tom Padovano out of New York City. Go, Tom!
Okay. Well, the good thing about bringer shows is you do have an audience. And let's face it, we all do open mics. And what are we doing? We're playing just to other comedians, waiting to get on. Sometimes just concentrating on their own set when that's going to happen and all. And it's much tougher to make them laugh. I mean, I've had good experiences with open mics too, don't get me wrong, but bringer shows, now you have some real audience there. The bad thing is sometimes like there's the cost for the people you bring. I mean, it's more expensive sometimes than if I went to a Saturday night show at the comic strip where I'm going to get professional comedians, and it's asked for a lot. And then the amount of people they want, I know it varies. Some places if you look around, I'm not going to name names, where you only have to bring sometimes only two or even one bringer. Okay, you know, when you're talking 5, 6 people, 10 people. But then again, if the club finds enough people to do that, listen to that cash register. It's humming, you know. So, and the other thing I have against bringer shows, and maybe I'm wrong about this, you could correct me. Let's say one of us does a bringer show, and we kill. We kill. Are we going to now get a chance to be on a regular show? I don't know. You know what they're going to say? Oh, yeah, come back and do another bringer, you know? But if you kind of like prove yourself, at least, I'm not saying every night, maybe once a month or something. Yeah, we're going to give you a spot on a regular show because you're good. Something
Exactly.
like that, you
Yeah.
know? So, what is the bringer show doing for me if I have no chance of advancing, even if I have a great set?
Exactly.
Right.
You know? Is my time up, Linda? I don't want to go
No,
over.
you have it. I'm right now giving you the 1 minute light. You're at
Oh,
2 minutes.
okay. Yeah. So that's the thing. Like I said with the bringer, okay. And let's say 3, 4, 5 times I brought. I'm not saying this would happen, and if I do well, I'm not saying I wouldn't do. But if I do, am I going to get a spot? I don't care if it's the last spot on a Tuesday night. Put me on a regular show now. You've seen what I could do if I've done well. But I don't know if they're going to do that. They're kind of set in their ways insofar as who they're going to book is concerned. So that's a negative I feel about the bringers too. What is it going to lead to? Is it going to lead to anything? Just more bringers? Then I'm starting to lose interest already.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that. Thank you. Helene, do you have anything to add to Tom?
No, because George is running out of time and she has to go next. I'll add something afterwards.
George already went.
No, she sent a message in the chat that she has to say something and she's running out of time.
Oh, Georgia, why don't you say it now? Thank you, Helene. I can't see the chat.
Okay.
All right, thank you. My question was, Linda, on the previous class, we did a question about the fan base. So I thought if you asked me that now, I could give my input before I
Okay,
leave.
perfect. And yeah, and Helene and I are going to talk at length about that, and we'll send you the video. Yes, Georgia, talk about the fan base.
So the fan base for me, like I mentioned earlier, I touched on it when I did the bringer shows. I was always joking around at work. So I'm a nurse, and at the hospital I was making jokes, and the people would say, "Oh, and I'd say, "Yeah, I'm doing comedy. Where are you going to be?" I have to tell them they have to come, right? So I had coworkers coming. I even had my gynecologist come to a show. I swear to God, she says, "If you make it big, I'll quit my practice and be your manager." I said, "Okay." But should I put faith in you because you don't have any partners and you're running this whole gynecological office by yourself? I don't know if you have the right skill. Anyway, so I had my doctor come, and social people were coming, my friends were coming. So when I saw the amount of people coming, I was so floored by that. And then, like I said, I joined a couple of groups here in Florida, and I joke around. They know my personality. So if I say I'm going to be doing a show, they come to the show. But when am I going to elevate from the bringer to the, get on stage? So it's a work we have to do. But I want to know from the club, what do you want me to do to get that next level up? And I will bring my fans because I already told you I have fans. I have a floor fan, a ceiling fan. I have a little fan on the behind me. I got fans. Okay. So I'm just saying, thank you so much, Linda and Helene, and all the other comedians who are vested in our career, and we want to advance, and we need information from the bookers and the owners. How can we bring our funny to you? Thanks a lot, you girls.
Amen. I just want to say, I think it's a brilliant idea to have your gynecologist be your agent because she knows you inside and out.
Yes, that's right.
Right, Tom? Okay, never mind.
Oh, God.
This is what I've heard. Yes.
Keep it clean.
Keeping it clean. You never know. I'm going to the Clean Comedy Challenge.
That's right.
Okay, now we get to hear from our participant in the bottom right corner on my screen. I don't know where she's at on yours. She just popped in, and we love her out here in the New York area. Alice Tremard, why don't you talk about, without mentioning names of clubs or people, what you've experienced and how you feel about the dreaded bringers?
I think the bringers are only good for very select clubs. There's one in particular I have in mind that I've done before, where it's a 5-person bringer. I normally pay for my people because it's a slog. It's a long, long show, and if I'm going to bring somebody, if I'm going to bring friends, either comic friends or not, they have to sit there. It's their time is valuable too. And there's one place I can think of in New York where after you do a show, a bringer show, that you get feedback and you possibly can go on to do other shows. Other bringers, if they don't lead to anything, unless you feel like it, I guess you can do it. Or if you think it might lead to something, you can do it. But normally most of us would like to conserve our, what, $25 a piece per person, whatever. And there's only one, right, again, one place. It's a necessary evil. you know um there's I think a lot of places right now are taking advantage. I can think of two places right now where they promise, like, if you on a whatever night, let's say Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, if you bring 4 or 5 people, it's for an audition show, and you might be our right club regular. And so people do that. And I think for the most part, it's a cash grab. And I don't agree with that. If someone invites, because I've been invited to some of them and they're very nice, but at the end of the day, either no one is contacted, or maybe some 18-year-olds contacted. And so I think it's just, I think also having a forum like this, Linda, is helpful, so we can all help each other out. Hey, I've been there. Do you know this person? Do you know this person? So, because two things that comedy does for all of us. I mean, it's time and it's money, and it can be a lot of money. And we all want to be cognizant of each other's times, and how much it costs for the whatever. So that's what I'm going to say about that. That's it.
Wonderful. Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Alice.
Thanks, Linda.
Helene, do you have any input
Yeah.
at this?
I have some things to say. You brought up a great point that somebody did. Where will this lead me? To say to the club, will this mean you're impressed that I brought 5 or 10 people, then you'll put me on your list because you'll want me to do it again? What will this afford me? Will winning your contest, if there is one that time, will it afford me more than a guest spot, which is like a tap? You're so excited for him to call or her to call you and give you feedback, which you're honored to get that phone call. I'm speaking about myself. And then they tap you on the head and say, we're going to give you a 9:30 spot on such and such a date. And you're so excited to be in a real show. But then time goes by and you wonder, and did I blow you away enough to consider me for anything else? So that's the thing. I do get swept away with being on stage, taking pictures, being in a contest, getting a spot if I were to be that lucky, and then not thinking long term, now what? Will it be do that again? So you brought up a good point. Opened my eyes, whoever was sharing, two or more people sharing that aspect of it, because I am, put the carrot in front of me and I'll go. So that's what I want to say about that subject at this moment.
Fabulous. So last time we did the class, and this is the redo, everybody wanted to know, how can they elevate their game and what are some tips on marketing? So I've reached out to Liz Mealy to see if she'll come on, and if we can all maybe cough in a few bucks to help her financially to want to come in and talk about marketing. She's got 3 videos for $5 each, but to get her for an hour and answer our specific questions on Zoom would be, I think, really valuable. And like, there are people who have really elevated their own games with marketing and circumvented needing to do all those blankety blank bringers, like her and Zarna Garg and different people. Even, oh shoot, I'm saying names.
Leanne.
I'm saying names and I'm breaking my own rule.
Oh, you're
But
right.
at least it's a good thing. I'm saying names in a good way. So apologize, but I don't care, because I'm giving them props. But anyway, don't say any names. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm a
That's
bad
funny.
example. Bad girl.
You're caught
Anyway,
up.
so I'm going to see in the future if Zarna, if Liz Mealy can come on and talk about promoting. And we want to find out the origin of bringers anyway. And I want to get some club owners and some bringer producers to come on and talk about where did this all start from and what do they see are the benefits other than just stage time of having bringers, and what are they doing, all the work they're going through to give us stage time. It would be valuable for us here to have a broader spectrum of information than just how we feel about another bringer, I thought. And so if there's any other things that you want said in future ones of these classes, let me know. But now got a special, my co-producer, co-author lady here, Helene Witt, has fans. A lot of times people will put her on a show, and sometimes it gets confusing for us who are in bringers, and we think we are only getting booked because we bring. And Helene gets so many people to bring her shows, and I feel that she gets put on shows because she's so blankety blank funny, and she can get people there. It's not just because she brings people. And that's the thing, is that, like, if you're really good at bringing people, sometimes you feel like that's all they refer to, and they're not giving you props for being so blankety blank funny. So let's have Helene come on and talk about all the creative ways she gets people to come to her shows, because that's she's got decades of doing this, and she thinks of it, as Tom knows, Alice knows, she's like, she ignites people like nobody else. She's a master at this. So let's have her talk right now. Go for it, Helene Witt.
When you acknowledge me, I could just think of how talented all of you are. I admire all of your talent, and you're funny, and all you're all humorous and hysterical. So it's hard to hear because I think it about all of you. I don't see it as the word get that Linda uses, which I'm not saying I don't use the word get, but what I think of is people who I've seen at meetings. Let's say you're in a sorority, high school page on Facebook, community page on Facebook, Long Island page on Facebook. Georgia mentioned a singles group where she lives. Your synagogue, your church, your community, even joining groups for that reason. I'm not above that. My Oakland Gardens where I live. So I think in terms of people I know going to Connecticut, who do I know from Connecticut from the past? So I just think like that. And I don't see it as, okay, I'll say it, fans necessarily. I say it as friends, relatives. I've had relatives say things that made me sound like I bombed. I mean, I said, how was I? Which I might never ask that again because I didn't like the answer, but that was funny. But what I want to say is the joy. I want to talk about the joy. So one day I had a few people at a club, and my secretary from school, my payroll secretary, was sitting with my friend's daughter, who's in her 40s. And I went, they have something in common that I never would have had them sit next to each other. Maybe at my funeral, they'd say, how did you know Elaine? But you don't always talk to people at a wake. Well, I wouldn't have a wake. I'd have a shiver. But let me go on. Seriously, the other day, my friend's aunt was there with a walker, with an aide, with a friend. And the joy of having your aunt there who never, who knows if she ever would have thought to invite her in. It wasn't even a bringer. So I don't see it. I see it as community and friendship. If Alice has a show and she says, I could use your support if you're going to be in the neighborhood. No, it's an excuse to see my friends. It's an excuse to see comedy. I'm not above learning and networking and being there for Alice. So it's everything. To me, it's just uh, the natural. It's the air that I breathe. I don't see it as, the dreaded bringer. Sometimes I do. I walk in and the guy says, "Your 7 people are here sweating it out because it's a show with one woman was from TV, some were headliners, and they mix in people who brought the audience." So I'm not saying I'm above it or it doesn't happen, but Sebastian Maniscalco has to fill Madison Square Garden 4 days in a row. He's not above it. Jerry Seinfeld came on this. Oh, I'm saying names. Somebody who had a TV show that made more money than any sitcom ever came on the stage at the Garden to do 20 minutes. Maybe they were bringing people to another theater, which I won't say the name of that. It brings us, you're not above it, even if you're on a ship. You're not above it because you have to do well on that ship because they have people watching who are going to report to the head honcho. And if somebody complains about you, that's it. So I look at the joy of it, the happiness. I know Tom has, we once went, I could say this, I guess, his relatives were there at a table. It was joyful for me. I never forgot it. I never forgot how wonderful I felt being there with Tom and being honored that he invited me to be with his relatives. So I don't see it the way some people do. And I invite you to look this way because of the joy. Oh, I'm going to Long Island. Who do I know in Suffolk? Who do I know in Nassau? Who do I know on the east side of Long Island, the south side, whatever you call it, the North Shore, the South Shore? Elizabeth's in Long Beach. I'll say, "Oh, Elizabeth, I'm going to be in Long Beach. Elizabeth is going to be at the contest. Helene, could you come to the contest?" And then who could you bring? My friend's going to be in Connecticut. I invited 2 people. So I'm done.
Oh, that's amazing. That's very helpful. I think that what you're speaking to is when we get a phone call and another booker wants us to do another bringer, it hits us to our core because we want to get beyond needing to do bringers. And then when we feel that way, it stops our creativity and we want to get stage time and we want to be seen and loved. And now we have to go through hoops when we should be at a level where we just get put on shows because we're funny. And so and then when we feel that way, it stops our creative process to be thinking, who could we invite? So if we can take all the negative feelings about bringers, I see Tom nodding his head, so I'm glad you're seeing what I'm saying. If we can take our negative feelings and have a way to safely talk about them and push them aside and look at when we get a phone call, even if it's a bringer, throw that out of our mind and just, like they say, don't say no to anything, and just try to see what are Tiger Woods, Kobe Bryant, these people didn't get to where they're going by thinking small. Like how many people could I get if I really tried? Forget that, not this bringer again, he's been such a jerk, or I hate this, I wish I was. But if we just go, okay, somebody gave me a challenge, I wonder, so like the last time we hear, I know somebody said that, I won't say their name, but they said, if I'm expected to bring 4 people and I find 4 people and one cancels, I can't go up on the show, because some bringers stick to that rule like it's glue. Others, well, you gave it a good hard college try, I'm going to let you go up. Well, like the airlines, they double book flights all the time because they know mathematically there's going to be so many cancellations. So that could be something we could incorporate to be creative so we're more successful. Like if we're expected to bring 2 people, get 4 confirmed people, because probably 1 or 2 are going to cancel. Stuff happens. So that's one thing. And like when we did the first run through of this, and then I'll have Elizabeth talk in a minute about pros and cons of bringer shows. And we're not mentioning names of clubs or names of people, Elizabeth. So I just want to let you know that. So give me a minute to finish this. When we're thinking creatively, we're now accepting, oh, it's another bringer invitation. Okay, fine. Let me push that to the side and see what I can do. And so we're in the middle of thinking, Think of it like a quadrant. I think this is a quadrant. Four things. Who do I know today? Who did I used to know? Who um Helene, help me out. What are the four quadrants? So who do I know? Who do I not know? Who did I know? So like 3 out of 4 is good, you got, folks. I'm just gonna try to come up with different areas of your life that you didn't think of. These are my neighbors. This is my cleaning lady, my nail salon, my Uber driver. This is a concierge that I see every day. You know those people. So have you hit them all up? People that you used to know, like Helene has, trying to be around Helene and she meets somebody, she's going to go into everybody she used to know. It's a dialogue. She knows everybody. She remembers everybody. She asks everybody what high school, and she knows some. She will ask I know the fourth quadrant is who do they know? Who do you know and who do they know? Who did you used to know and who do they know?
Yeah,
So,
maybe you have a friend in Suffolk, even though you can't go or you don't live in Suffolk. Who do you know?
yeah. And like uh some people that we know live by Elizabeth. Other people work by Elizabeth and they get off just like an hour before the show starts. So you can be thinking about that. Who lives there? Who works there? Who has relatives there? And so when we get a bringer thing, we think our first thought is, "Oh God, I should be above this, not another bringer." And I've used up all. I've heard this 1,000 times in 11 years. I've used up all my bringers. And it's like, have you really? Then you need to talk to Helene Witt because I don't think you have.
And Linda makes friends with people, but she doesn't do it in order to. If you make friends with people in order to bring them, that's like not what that's not the purity that Linda uses. We were on the train the other day. She started talking to a guy, but it wasn't in order to have him go to a show. I don't know why she talked to him, but she did. And then she probably invited him to the show.
Linda doesn't know why either.
Linda, when people walk into the New York City subway, Linda says welcome, like they're walking into her living room. But again, she gets talking to people in a pure way. It's not in order to invite them to the show. But the other day you were at a show, Linda, and they paid you because you brought someone you never even saw. You don't even know who it was.
Yeah. You know,
Amazing.
I've gotten so famous, both of my bringers.
Oh,
They said, I'm giving you $5. There's somebody here who came to see you. And I'm wondering, aren't you curious at all who the hell it was?
Nope. Nope. Okay, so Elizabeth Schur is here, and without mentioning the names of any comedians or any clubs or bookers, tell the rest of us and anybody, we're going to be sending this video around the country to clubs and bookers. And so let them know, good and bad, that you've experienced with bringer shows.
Okay. Good question. Okay.
Or
Safe
what you'd like to see improved.
improve. Okay. Food is always great at a venue. So is ancillarily more like variety of performers, not just comedians, but we'll throw in a Stradivarius player or just something snazzy. Maybe a cello player, maybe a fiddle player, or singers, just a little, and then maybe you'll even have a performance artist, visual artist, throw into the show. But I think the bringers are fun. I've managed to get, a lot of people, which is good. But the only problem with the bringers is, like you said, it's not with your signature, Linda and Helene. It's not just your baby. It's the venue is wanting help with the area that they should be or ideally would be working as partners with you. So my idea is if I was doing a bringer, or they were pushing me like crazy to do a bringer, but I absolutely loved every single thing about their club, I would try to just maximize performers that I could bring with me to make the show hotter. Linda's famous line, I'm so hot. Everybody comes here. uh, okay. And then I would just be as positive and hearing them out as to all their ideas. That's all.
Absolutely. Tom, do you have something you want to add?
I was thinking about that. Maybe with other comedians, if you feel they trust me, do a little bit of a trade. I'll come to you, your show as a bringer, you come to mine as a bringer. Something like that.
Absolutely. I have a reciprocal agreement with 3 other comedians,
Good.
2 or 3 in a group, and even at that, not asking other comedians to be available when they're out trying to get their own shows. That's a nice extra spice to put on. It can push you over the edge to have enough people. If you need it, you can pressure them to come. I really need you. I'm one short. Yeah, that's a great idea, Tom. Here's what I wish. And thank you, Elizabeth, for your input, and Tom. One thing that I feel that clubs and bookers need to do better for us comedians, and I'm not ashamed to say it, is that if you have a club, tell us comedians how it is we get passed at your club. Tell us if you watch those videos, if you even videotape everything that happens on your stage. I would think you would have to, for insurance purposes, videotape everything just in case there's a lawsuit. But do you even look at the videos? Do you ever? I know there is a club in New York and they watch every tape, and people have gotten passed from them watching the videos. I know another venue that says if you come to the Bringers, you're not going to get passed on at the club. So that, without saying names of the clubs or the club owners, I think it's important for us to know what's the rules at this venue for our path in comedy, because some places a bringer show holds you back. Some people think some of the people that have done comedy and own clubs, they look down on comedians that do bringer shows and think less of it. Oh well, if you're doing bringer shows, I'm not putting you on my show. Others see the hard work and dedication it takes to get to the next level. So I just think there needs to be transparency from club owners and bookers. So, like, because I know there's a club right here in town that if you're doing bringers, you're not going to get passed. So that's kind of unfair to us because we're doing the hard work. And I would, if you know any club owners that would be willing to come on and talk and tell us what is the path to success at your club, I'd love to have them come on and talk about that. And so anyway, yeah, so I want to have some things for the future. Like I'm going to say her name because it's in a good way. I want to have Liz Mealy, an expert on branding, come on. I want to find venue owners to talk about the path at their clubs and how to get past. And we want to find out, when did bringers even start and why? I know that bringer shows are a necessary evil at this time. Some people say, I won't do them and we should boycott them. Okay, well, like in comedy, we don't even have actors have SAG, and they have a union. And if we had a union, I would think that bringer shows would probably not be in existence. But we don't have a union. So we have this necessary evil thing that happens, and it's got good and bad to it. When I get invited on a bringer show, I don't like it. I would rather be above that at all times, but I'm not. And so when I get invited, I like to make it a challenge and see if I can meet the challenge. And I like to keep having a good attitude and inviting people, and then my focus is when I get to the venue, who else is on the show that has never seen me perform? Can I blow them out of the water? Can I be so good at this Springer show that I will in the future get invited to a show? And I hope that say I have two people there and there's 20 other guests, but they don't know who I am. But afterwards, a couple of them want to know my YouTube or get a card from me, or they come up and tell me, wow, you were so good. So there are benefits to going to a bringer. And I try to have that focus once I've committed to doing the bringer. I'll tell you what I don't like about a bringer. I got a message just between last night and this morning. It's kind of cloudy. Somebody sent me an email and said, come by, I'm going to be having blah, 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 blah. And I said, are you inviting me to be performing? No, just sending out these. So I think that when they send out invites to the known bringer people, send out invites, or even club bookers, they should be upfront. Because sometimes, I don't know if you guys have experienced it. You say, oh, I'd love to come by. How many minutes am I doing? You're not. I hate that. It's like, at least be transparent and don't try to bait and switch me. Yeah. Who would like to talk? We'll just open it. We've covered everything because there's so few of us. Who would like to ask a question? Future stuff. Tom's throwing up a finger. I hope it's not the middle one.
No. I'm just going to ask, and don't give me it. So there's a club that if you do a bringer, they will not consider you to be on the regular lineup.
Yep.
So they're basically saying you have no chance.
Correct.
Kind of.
That's correct.
Gotcha. All right.
Is that crazy?
Well, it's their way of trying to tell you you're not going to get on here ever, I guess, or something, unless it's from other means or something. All right.
And then I had another club tell me, and Helene knows who this is, but we're going to keep it secret. Another club said, basically, you're too old. Your odds, and they flat out said it. So, at least they offered an alternative way to get noticed at the club. But as far as getting past, yeah, my ship sailed, and they told me to my face.
You know what? I want to say something, and what it is no names, no anything. But
thank you.
What I do is when I hear something somebody says, I don't think it's always set in stone. There's always the surprise that can happen. So I wouldn't take anybody at their word unless they were really adamant about it.
Well, every time there's a rule, there's going to be an exception, because even if I'm at a certain age or older and too old to be passed by the club, I bet you if I became TikTok famous or had a following of fans, I bet you I would be the exception. So, yeah. So, I agree with you, Elizabeth, that you can't take it as 100% true. Because there are. Elaine, do you have anything to add? Tom's standing.
Wanted to shift gears a little. Last time when we had the seminar, and I know everybody was there, people talked about creating your own shows. And I think there are themes. You could have brown comedy, which they call like Indians, or Asian comics, or Jewish comics, or elderly comics, or old comics, or over 50, under 40, college, themes, and make your own shows and put your own people in, which I think Alice does. Oh, I could say her name. She's here. Alice has her own shows, and then they handpick who they want, or maybe someone will put you on their show because you put them on yours. So that's the beginning. There are plenty of
spaces in New York, except for Georgia, the rest of us are in New York. There are so many vacant or empty or places to be filled places to have your own show.
Yes. And when you go to a club and you say, I'd like to fill your space by having some of my comedian friends and me do a show, and we can fill your venue, they're going to offer you between 70 and 90% of the door. So you'll have a way to actually earn money and elevate your own career to where other people want to book you because you're booking them, or the odds are you'll book them if they're funny. So there are ways to elevate yourself past the bringers. The nice thing to do when you run, like I went to Danger, I'm in danger of talking right now. I went to a couple clubs and I have upcoming military shows because I went to them and said, I can fill your venue. Let me have this date. And I did get offered 70 to 90% of the door. And here's the thing about doing shows with a theme, like Helene said, I'm doing a show for veterans, first responders, that kind of thing. But I'm not saying it's a fundraiser to help any family or group or a veteran organization. It's to help me. It's just to make them laugh, come and laugh. And so that money that I gather up, I'll use to pay the talent. So it's not a bringer show for the people. And that's a way you can elevate comedy, and we can move away from so many bringer shows and get out there producing our own shows that are not bringers. So that's what I have to say. And Tom, did you have anything to add? I like your ceiling.
No, that's actually an awning. I'm in the yard with the dog. Uh, no, I mean, yeah, if you could get your own mic running and all, sure, that's something to look into.
Yeah, you'd be great at that. And I
Mhm.
like your idea of a reciprocal, where we help each other bring. People have asked me lately, if I come to your shows, will you come to mine? Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
like, you got to have good communication. I've heard a lot of people be disheartened by that. I went
Yes.
to her show and they never came to mine. And you
Mhm.
got to have patience. Like, if you enter into an agreement like that, say over the next 3 months, let's pick a time where I come to your show and you come to mine. So it's
Mhm.
not so much pressure to do it every week or every month kind of thing.
Right.
Because it's hard. We all have schedules.
Yeah. And I mean, it's one of those things, not to be mean. If you go to their show, they don't come to yours. I wouldn't go back to theirs again. I'll
Yeah,
go, look, you fulfill your obligation. Okay, you can't do it now, 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, but not going to do anything else until you do your reciprocation.
exactly. Exactly. And that's the
I
same
have
way.
something.
Yes, Helene.
Go ahead,
No,
finish your thought.
no, it's okay.
I wanted to tell you when I got back into comedy more than ever when I retired, my brother had this way to look at it. And he said, it's like you went back to college for a different trade. Let's say I decided to be a nurse's aide. So you paid to go to the little training, not little, the training that you get for that field. Or let's say I was learning guitar and the guitar lessons were, I go to a personal trainer, that's $90 a week. So my brother looked at it more like you're going back to school. You have to bring people, that's part of your tuition. Doctors have that internship time. And that's how my brother and I look at it. You want to support the venue. You don't want to not buy a soda because you want to support the place that's giving you your training for your new career. So we look at it that way.
I love that. When you're doing the bringer level or you're on bringer shows, it's so easy to feel used and chopped up into little bits and made to be small when you want to be bigger than that. And it is a real mind trip for me to focus on what I can do for the club. What can I do for this producer? What, like stay in good, like they invite you. I would love to be on your bringer show. I will do my darndest to get people there. Now, I just moved here from Las Vegas in January, so I might not be able to actually ignite this, but I will go and let them know what you are going to try to do because they've got their own mishigas on the other end. They're, feeling burnt out, or did I use that word correctly, Helene? And so like whatever you can do to communicate all you're going to try, and if they can think of anywhere you can go to get people because they might know that area. Helena and I go on Facebook groups. We're not going to name which ones they are, but you can write us, and we're always seeing what group we can join and put out a flyer that's not breaking a rule and get the word out. We meet strangers. Some are stranger than others, and it's kind of fun. It makes it exciting. We went to one guy. We went one guy we met, and the next day, Helena and I had to go to not a
George's unveiling.
yeah,
George's unveiling.
we're not saying names. We went to we got a guy to come to comedy, and then the next day there was an unveiling to go to at a cemetery, and the guy that we got to come to comedy the night before was now at the cemetery, and we're wondering if he's stalking us. He's just at the cemetery himself by accident. So, there's a lot of funny things that happen because of bringers. Yeah.
That's funny.
So anyway, it's fun to meet people, and it's like people will come to your comedy show and they will make their desires known for the future to be your fan or not. You can pretty much tell if, okay, I did it for you. Thanks for inviting me. If there's that kind of a wrap up from a bringer, or man, you're so good. Let me know when you're going to be out. And Helene, she gets so many people to come. And often because they're like her loyal fan base, they'll say, well, you're going to be doing she'll say, you already know that joke, so I'm going to do a totally different joke, or I'll do a whole entire. She has it at a whole nother level, you guys.
Well, there are people who work for me, meaning they, computers, house cleaning, and they come an awful lot, and they're like more like my niece and nephew kind of. And I say, are you going to do the same jokes you've been doing for 45 years since Robin Williams left for Mork and Mindy? So I say to them, I'm going to do a new joke just for you. Not a whole set, God forbid. I didn't do my teacher thing, Tom. I'm kind of making a joke, but I say, Linda's right. I say, just for you, I'm going to put in a new joke.
Yeah, it's a great way because, like Elizabeth, after a while, I'm sure you've experienced, they've already heard your set and you're working on your type 5, 10, 15, 20, and they've already heard it. So what's to motivate them to come? So that's a creative thing Helene does very well. Throws in a joke or a joke about them, or ask them. You can even ask them, if I was going to write a joke specially for you since you're coming, what would you like me to write the joke about? Like, if I get a military person to come, I'll tell a military joke. If I get 5 or 6 military, I'm doing a whole set on the military. Look out. Because, 5 or 6 people laughing will get 5 or 6 other people laughing, and then I'll have a crowd laughing. Even though they don't really want to hear military material, they'll laugh.
You're bringing up a good point. Let's say Tom's cousins come, then he might think of a joke, a cousin joke, or Elizabeth's person from her library comes, or her synagogue. She'll think, hey, why don't I do that synagogue joke? So you're right. You might tell a joke that has to do with the person. Like a teacher who was retired, like me, showed up at the library. I was so I announced it to everyone. I went, look, oh, I'm going to say the name. Look, blank. Look who's here, a teacher from blankety school. So she could feel special, but I was totally happy she was there.
Yeah. And I'm
another
going,
thing. Go ahead.
I'll interrupt you this time. Take turns in. I'm going to Vegas, and I'm trying to get people to come. It's kind of like a bringer scenario. And so I wrote to all my friends and I said, you loved my comedy when I lived there, and you have no idea how hard I've been working on my comedy in New York City to make tough New York audiences laugh. And New York is like the Olympics of comedy. So when you come to this venue, because they're going to come, not if. So when you come to see me, you're going to see an entirely different comedy come out of me. So you can, like it's only natural that if I'm in New York doing comedy, I'm going to be a little better. And so some people are coming because they want to see how much better am I.
That's funny.
And then
Oh yeah, I dare you.
you can bet on it. I can just see people
Want
going
to
down
say
placing a bet on if I'm any better or not at Caesar's
that's funny.
Palace.
I want to say Linda had 33 people, was it, or 44 in Portland, Oregon?
44 people showed up for Linda in Portland, Oregon.
Can't beat that number. 44. Her sister, well, I could say your sister's friends, your friends, high school friends, friends of friends, the owner of a club.
Waitresses, yeah, you name it. Yeah, it was
And then
fun.
I knew a man who fixed a car once in Vegas. Do you know every time Linda has a show in Vegas, she goes, what was that car repairman's name? He's in my phone.
Yeah.
We asked a waitress in the all-you-could-eat buffet. We spent 3 meals there. She didn't even hate us by then. I'm making a joke.
And she comes to our show and we're scratching our heads looking at each other like, where do we know her from? Breakfast. You know her from breakfast.
That was funny. We didn't know who she was. I said, it's your friend. Linda's like,
I didn't know
who's
her.
the waitress?
Then it dawned on me. I
Well,
hate
she
it.
brought her children, so it threw us off. She brought her grown children. Who is
Yeah,
that?
we're not used to that yet. What I'm the one doing the bringers. You don't get to bring them. What do you think you're
Both
doing?
have
Trying to
children.
upstage me here? That's my thing.
That's funny.
Anybody have anything to say before we head off? It's a short one today because there's only some of us. Alice, do you have anything you'd like to add?
You're muted.
I just think this is a fabulous forum. Like I've never seen anything like this, and it's helped. What they say? It's a cliche, but misery loves company. It's not necessarily misery, but it's important to. Nobody talks about bringers. It's kind of like the unspoken, or it's like the open secret that everybody knows, but nobody wants to talk about. But it's good that we all have somewhat of the same opinion, and we all know we have to do it. But it helps to know that you're not alone in
That
some of this because I find comedy sometimes to be very, very lonely, especially no matter what kind of show you do, no matter, if you look out in the crowd, whether it's a bringer or not, and there's nobody there that sometimes you feel kind of like, oh, hmm, I wish my friend was here, or wish somebody was here, just to, because that's at least half of comedy, the networking, the people. If you do it by yourself all the time, this is where I can see the depression, sits in, and you want to keep yourself away from that because this is a roller coaster for all of us.
it is.
And
So
I just want to say, Linda, Linda and Helene, you're both fabulous hosts. I'm so glad that we're all, to get connected.
yes, thank you. So I made a notes of things I'm going to add for the future. I'm going to do another one of these August 4th, 7 p.m. Eastern. And I'll
Nice.
try to see if we can get some of these club owners to come. Did Tom leave? Yeah, no, Tom's there, but Helene left. Okay, cool. Anyway, thank you for your words. I appreciate it, Alice. You've been an excellent participant.
Thanks.
Yes, and Elizabeth, thank you so much. You're so positive.
Very welcome. My pleasure.
Possibly.
You guys look great.
Thank you. If you have any other topics you'd like us to cover inside of growing a fan base or,
maybe 24/7.
knowledge that we can impart by having guest speakers, let me know. Maybe it'd be great to have somebody come on to talk about TikTok, how to get, how to get, well, that's kind of where Liz Mealy touches on that. But if there's somebody that's specifically a success at TikTok and Instagram reels and stuff. Yes, Helene?
Judy Carter has the new $10 workshop every week from her new book that we're helping her fill in the words. It's excellent. She's giving, and the people who come on, they're giving the most mind-blowing ideas and tips and links to make life
Good,
easier
yeah.
and more successful.
When is that?
Very good. Yeah. 3 o'clock
What?
every Tuesday.
Tuesday. That's a regular one, but now she's
I
doing
think
it in a
that's-
deeper.
This is a Wednesday workshop.
Oh, Wednesday.
She might skip but she did too. And you're helping her fill in some of the words for her book. And it's $10, and you would not believe what it filled in, what it had in it.
Wednesdays at 3 o'clock, and you have to get invited.
You can ask me. I get a message asking me to join.
So it's
Get being funny.
Wednesday. So it's Wednesdays at 3 o'clock.
Yeah. Yep.
I want to say 1 o'clock. And if you go to Judy Carter's page, you'll see the next workshop. How's that for me avoiding commitment?
Got it. That's great. Please
It's
invite
unbelievable.
please invite all of us that came last time and this time so we can all do that with you, Helene. That's wonderful. That's the other thing. Helene is relentless, and I'd just like to encourage us all to continue to keep loving, even though life knocks us around and comedy hits us upside and kicks us in the gut. Keep helping each other, because eventually people are going to, just because you should be a good person, and good comes back to you. Help each other. We should all be help. Helene is just a master at having ideas to help others. Thank you, Helene.
Thanks.
Okay. Bye, you guys.
Bye, Elizabeth.
Bye, Tom. And your ceiling.